How do I navigate the emotional complexity of some work? How I'm able to do that? That's a great question. I think that it always. I think I've always believed that the work that we do is service. That you give, you got to get. It's something I teach as well, and I tell my students I want them to give a little bit of their soul, and they've got to give it even in an audition. It's got to cost you something. Otherwise, why do it? That's actually my job. Actually, is to get out of my own way, and to let it flow through me, whatever that is, and to trust that that is whatever. There's the craft of it. Yes, that's one thing, but then there's the soul part of it that I know that's the hard work, but it's the necessary work, and that's what gets me up to do the work that I do all the time. That's my investment in humanity, I think. And so that's why you're like, oh no, I just have to pour all that I can into it. There's some things that are more difficult than others, that have to call on things that are, I'll be honest, the things that I'm drawn to scare me a little bit. And I do know that, like, I'm about to go on this journey. Do I know what myth is going to bring out in me? What he's going to call on from even my own natural father, being terrible to my mother before my mother found my wonderful stepfather? Is it going to call on things like that, my own trauma? It might, but that's also my job, and hopefully that's something that's going to help move me through and move me forward and let me have empathy even for that in some way. So I think it's part of my job, and you just sort of get out of the way and trust that whatever it is, it's useful and it's in service. That's it. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, back there, Steph, I think.
Hi, thank you for coming. I really love Passing Strange. I had to watch it in one of my classes.
Thank you.
Something that I was wondering, you're such a multifaceted artist. You've been on stage, off stage, you're producing. Is there something that you want to do as an artist that you haven't fulfilled yet?
That's a great question. I would say the thing that keeps coming up for me is something that I never imagined myself doing, and I had a taste of it. I'm starting to get more tastes of it now. I've always been sort of the outlier. Passing Strange, that show was made for somebody like me. We were nothing but outliers, all of us. We were geeks and weirdos, and who else would write a show and say, oh, we want you to play a closeted choir director or a German performance artist and a Dutch nudist? Oh, me. That's for me. There was nothing else for me but that. That made sense. But I think that by being an outlier, I think maybe the industry and maybe myself thought I was something else and I wasn't to play certain roles until, again, people see you. And I had one moment to play for one night only for Adam Driver's company for Arts in the Armed Forces. And they were doing Raisin in the Sun. And I played Walter Lee. And my friend Patricia McGregor, a wonderful director who's worked at Cal Shakes, she said, oh, I think you'd be wonderful. Oh, okay. I honestly would just say, okay, it's reading, it's okay, I'll do it. And suddenly, it lived in me in a way that I had no idea. And it shook me to my core. And I thought, wow, I think I want to live in these words of Lorraine Hansberry and in this role of this man who was in the center. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, I actually don't think that I moved into the center of playing leading man roles until I saw it for myself. It wasn't happening until finally I saw myself playing these roles, and then suddenly I'm playing these leading man roles. So I would like to actually do a full production of A Raisin in the Sun. It's so classic, which is, it may be alarming to people like, oh, not a new play. No, I want to do that. And then when I'm older, because I look so very young, I want to do Fences, and I want to play Troy. I want to play these great men. You know what I mean? I want to play these great men. Hey, friend, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm about to cry. I'm just seeing people I love. Hey, honey, good to see you. Thank you. For those who didn't hear, we're talking about the disease of addiction and my role in Euphoria and the responsibility, and how do I find the way to be a part of telling that story. It all starts with Sam Levinson, our writer, director, showrunner, who suffered with the disease of addiction, still does, of course. And it meant the world to him to depict this and everyone to be so humanized and complex. Euphoria is many things. That show, I think, it just spins off its axis, but it's really looking at our culture. That's what I think. I think for the people who looks, oh, I can't watch that, or they're so alarmed by the things that teenagers are doing or saying or whatever, I'm like, but you got to look a little deeper, actually. I think that that's what Sam Levinson is always asking us. He gave me this beautiful episode, this special episode with Zendaya, and it's just two people sitting at a cafe in a diner talking on Christmas Eve. And for me, I didn't want to take that lightly. I literally got that episode when it was the day that Trump invoked that Insurrection Act. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was in my office constantly like a maniac, and I was so upset. And in my inbox, Sam sent this to me. And it felt like a call to action. It felt like a prayer. It really came from his spirit. It was what he wanted to say to America, to our culture, to not only the disease of addiction, but to, examining revolutions and what we believe in and what we're taught. Really examine it in the bigger picture that we're all sick, because we've all been fed this, that we're all suffering from the disease of addiction in some way. It could just be Twitter. It could be the news. It could be something. It could be your love. It could be whatever it is. It's all part of the same thing. And so for me, it was unpacking all this stuff. And I've done so much research when it comes to the disease of addiction, when it comes to just having conversations with people who suffered, who still suffer, with research, with documentaries, you name it, whatever I can get in to make sure that I never judged anyone, but to just humanize them and to understand it as a disease and a sickness in that way. So I did that work. But that one episode in particular, I made sure, because I felt like there was a huge responsibility for it. I put myself into my office for like 40 hours a week for 3 weeks and rehearsed. I did what I've always done. I'm from the theater. I'm like, oh, he's giving me 60 pages of dialogue and 4-page monologues. No time to get scared. This is Alpha Fugard. This is August Wilson. You've done this before. You always look at scripts and think, I'll never memorize that. And you do, don't we? We all do, don't we? We all say, oh, I'll never get that. But then you go step by step, page by page, beat by beat, line by line, and you just work it out. And then the most important part for me with that process was then to just show up and get out of the way, to trust that I had the words. And I'll tell you, and to trust that you call on something that's bigger than yourself. It is truly, and I say this and I mean it, it is a spiritual calling. You call on that thing. John Patrick Shanley said it in the preface of one of his plays. He said, you need to leave room for the divine to reside. And I know that that's something that you're very conscious of, and I'm very conscious of, that you gotta leave a little room for the divine to reside. To say, I need to be to be in service to all these people. When I walked down the street, me, Melissa, and Raul, and we saw groups of people just standing there, and they stand there every day, and I was just like, and it's just so normal, and it's all right here, but we find a place to help tell their stories, and humanize their existence because they're just like us. And that's all I know. And I think that's by not only just doing the work to understand that, but just being human and to understand that that's a human being there, and I have to tell their story. And I can't tell in a way outside and judge with judgment in any way. Just like, how can I humanize their existence so I can find when they're beautiful, when they're horrible, when they're painful, when they're funny, and make them a real complex human being. That's what I believe my job is.
Amazing, amazing.